This is Kimberly Quinn, host of the Mindcraft podcast, and I can't tell you how much fun I have had doing this podcast. I started when the world closed over the pandemic in an attempt to spread some positivity out there and give people some strategies to enhance their own well being and reduce anxiety and all of that. Now, 2 years later, we're still going strong and now listened to by 52 countries across the world. And I've even helped some of my students get going with their own podcasts. It's super easy to do. And I'll tell you, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it is the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. I'll just explain for you. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It is a ball. Start today. Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another hopefully interesting and exciting Minecraft episode on all things well-being. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am here to help you become the boss of your brain. This is the foundation for Minecraft, which means that we have this wonderful comprehension that thoughts come first and feelings second, and then action or behavior third. This is just absolutely essential to get this for a happy existence on this planet, because when we change our thoughts, we literally change our lives. So today I'd like to talk about living by letting go. And it amazes me frequently that, the world's greatest thinkers, spiritual leaders, just are all saying the same thing, in different ways. And so today I want to talk about living by letting go, right? Making it part of our lifestyle to let go. And of course, it's very Buddhist, um, to live by the words of keep your mind open to everything and attached to nothing. Keep your mind open to everything and attached to nothing. And again, we're not talking about, mama infant bonding, the minute a baby's born. That attachment is good. We're talking about detaching from outcomes, and I was talking about this a little bit on the YouTube channel. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I don't know. Because it is so important. I think people don't realize that how being attached to an outcome is a direct road to, at the very least, discomfort. And if you're super attached, like you're super glued to an outcome, then just can lead to downright suffering. It's also true that some of us don't always realize, or we do realize and then we forget, right, out there moving around in the spin of things. But we only have, at any given moment during the day, 100% of our emotional energy to give to anything. So if you think of it like a pizza, and you give two pieces to this outcome, which may not happen, and another piece to that outcome, which may not happen, another piece to a third outcome, which may not happen, because we're what ifing to death and catastrophizing and wasting our valuable life minutes, worrying, which is basically rehearsing anxiety about outcomes that may never even happen. Then we're only operating with 60% of our emotional energy to actually make that outcome happen. So when we look at it this way, and we're giving a piece to that and a piece to this and a piece to that, that leaves us with this percentage, to put into the outcome that isn't, we're working with less is the whole point. Whereas if we let go of the outcome and live in this moment mindfully, being here right now with all 100% of our emotional energy, that outcome is more apt to come out better anyway. Better anyway. And the other thing is, it's been said out there, I don't remember who, so I can't give somebody credit. We'll just say somebody said something brilliant about this, that if you want to make the universe laugh, tell her your plans, because we often get so wrapped up in our own attachment to these outcomes, and numerous outcomes sometimes, that we're sort of not trusting in the process. And the universe has something way better than we could possibly come up with intended for us. And then we have the self-doubters, and I've done a lot of talking recently about, when we live in our frame. Remember, our frame is where authenticity resides. So I picture an actual picture frame, which I use in my YouTube sometimes, and it really is so true. It's our inherent boundary we're born into this world with. And in that inherent boundary, our little baby frame, we are swimming and basking in authenticity, just doing the backstroke in authenticity. And within that frame is our self-love and acceptance and all these things we are born into the world with. And what is not in that frame is self doubt. And of course, many of you know that because I've got a list of teachers in this world, and well, I've had countless teachers in my life, but I mean, the ones who I actually listen to and read about, sort of frequently, and Wayne Dyer is at the top of that list. And he writes a book, or he wrote a book called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And it's all about, he interprets the Tao and things like that. For our purposes, though, today, I'm inspired by him writing about letting go. And in his book, he writes this: perhaps you've observed people who seem to get all the breaks, appearing to be impervious to the onslaughts that wreak havoc in many lives. For example, do you know someone who seldom, if ever, gets sick, in spite of spending the flu season in close contact with people who are coughing and sneezing? How about those who emerge unscathed in the middle of a crime spree? You might say that these lucky few seem to have guardian angels that protect them from the provocations of the symbolic deadly insects, that's in quotes, wild beasts and birds of prey mentioned in the opening lines of this passage. And then he talks about Lao Tzu, of course, the author of the Tao, knows that these men and women are simply in harmony with the Tao. This is so important. If we've seen those people who seem like these lucky ducks out there. Personally, I don't believe in luck. And actually, my dear friend Oprah, I love her. We're very good friends. She just isn't aware. She talks about luck. Her definition is being preparation meets opportunity. I love that. It's not just like it lands from the clouds, like you just, sitting on the couch having a sandwich, and then, the luck fairy just waves lucky dust all over you and things happen. That's not how it works. So, so Lao Tzu says that these men and women are simply in harmony with the Tao or life, right? Just as some individuals appear to have the right people show up in their lives at the right time, while others seem to have a knack for making money materialize just when it's needed most. And this, if you've ever met those people, they have this natural charisma. Why? Because they're in the flow of letting go. And that even rhymed. Yay. They're in the flow of letting go. They're living within their frames, swimming in authenticity, trusting in the process. And self doubt only appears, after we've been in the world for a little while. Sometimes it's a very little while. And, we're kind of pulled out of our frames for various reasons where self doubt resides. And we learn not to trust the process in ourselves, that divinity inside us. We just get all wrapped up in the very pessimistic ideas of um, you know not not having the faith that things will work out for the best. And you hear people also talking about my luck, and that sometimes they can be ultra pessimistic. They can say things like, "Oh, with my luck," blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just so nuts. How about with your luck? Why wouldn't things turn out the best ever? And then Wayne Dyer talks about Lao Tzu talking about infants, and he says that we should look to them because infants who haven't yet taken on the ego belief, right? Remember, the ego is the evil twin of the authentic self, the little baby authentic self, that they're separate from their originating source, capital S. Consequently, they have what could be considered magical powers. Little babies having magical powers. Imagine. They can scream all day and never lose their voice like a screeching adult would. Even with undeveloped muscles, they can fashion a firm grip. Furthermore, babies are pliable and virtually immune to harm from fall that would break the bones of a grown up. All this is called perfect harmony by Lao Tzu. Perfect harmony. Who else was just talking about? Louise Hay was just, she's also another one of my teachers. She was just talking about babies the other day too, and in their in a sense, their little baby authentic frames, because it's there so So they have this natural confidence, which is, when they scream when they're angry, hungry, sick, or tired. They just nestle into you and snuggle when they need it. They just have this confidence that they know that they're loved and cherished, and that babies don't believe in luck. They just know it's all supposed to happen how it's supposed to happen. Everything just unfolds how it's supposed to unfold, and they are confident in their little baby frames with who they are. So then, Wayne Dyer talks about, and then of course the Tao Te Ching. It's amazing to me. Again, Buddhism the same, Christianity the same. Like they're all saying the same thing. He says you realize that what you call luck isn't something that randomly happens. I mean, it doesn't work that way. It's he says it's yours for life when you decide to live by letting go. You attract the cooperative power of the Tao when you release the need to control your life. Here's the thing. I have a good friend who says this constantly. The control is such an illusion. My friend Bjarna talks about this a lot. And so we're getting locked into something that isn't even real, right? So he says, so change your thoughts, and see how your life changes to a very fortunate one indeed. It's this whole thing we're talking about, letting go of outcomes. When we live in this way, there's so much freedom in it. I know for me, I practice this among other things as part of my, authentic lifestyle. And not to say that it's easy always. It can be attachment to situations and people and outcome can be very seducing. And again, I'm not talking about attaching as little infants and things like that. Of course, that's super important. Though I think we get attachment confused with genuine love sometimes too, because genuine love is on like a gazillion levels higher than attaching. We find out very quickly when we attach to outcomes that how painful it is, because we've talked about this before. When we put our needs outside of us externally, right? That means that whenever we need something, that means without it, we're at the very least uncomfortable or debilitated in some circumstances. So attachment is obviously external. So we don't want that. The solutions to all of our problems or circumstances, solutions to anything, are all on the inside, not the outside. so when So then Wayne says, let go and exist in the harmony with the Tao, or what we're calling life, in order to build up your immune system and be quote unquote lucky about resisting disease and illness. He says, I know that letting go for protection sounds paradoxical, and I suppose you could think of it like that, but try seeing it as a way of allowing life's natural rhythm to flow unimpeded through you. Living by letting go means releasing worry. Oh, amen, brother. Releasing worry, stress, and fear. I could get going on the fear thing for a while. Then he says, when you promote your sense of well being in the face of what appears as dangerous to others, your alignment with your source, capital S, frees you from pushing yourself to act in a forceful manner. And he talks about this Lao Tzu, reminds you here that things that are forced grow for a while, but then wither away. It, I don't think people realize we get so attached. We put so much energy into our will, wanting something that we don't realize until we learn to sort of practice the letting go and trusting in the process with a capital P, that everything just gets so much easier. It gets so much easier, and there's such a natural flow when we're in harmony, and it's lighter. It almost feels like weight loss or something. It's hard to explain, but it opens up so much free thinking space, free emotional space. The power of letting go is absolutely amazing. I just have to tell you that. Um, then he says, attain the protective nature that's alluded to in this powerful verse, and realize the changeless with these insights for the world you're living in today. This whole thing is just, I personally practice it every day. Doesn't mean I don't get sucked in at times, because I do. Though for the most part, I'm not focused on outcomes, and it is a free flying way to live, and it just feels so light and good, and there's more energy in everything. It's just the way to go. So it comes down to really the whole title of Wayne's book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, which is what Minecraft is all about. I mean, people, even if we can verbalize and say, oh, sure, I know thoughts come first and feelings come second, but we're not always, sort of acutely conscious of this. What we allow in, the thoughts we allow in, write the script for our day every single day, which is why it's so important to have a morning routine. That'll be an episode for another time, because anybody who I know who's famous and not that we care about famous, because famous just means a lot of people know your name. I'm talking about people like have done really cool things. My dear friend Oprah, and people who are successful. And again, in the sense that I would say, I don't mean monetarily. Monetarily is just a side effect of the passion piece, right? When we do what we love and the money will follow. People who are successful, meaning that they are so comfortable in their own skin that they can say no without feeling any sense of guilt or shame or anything. Just living in that frame confidently is the highest version of themselves. Those people have a morning routine because we can prime our day instead of just letting it get away from us. And so this is part of what we're saying. And changing the way that you look at your potential to become a lucky person. Wayne talks about this here. He says, rather than telling yourself, and I've heard him say this on podcasts too, with my luck, things aren't going to work out for me. I mean, imagine starting your day out with that, like that, or even the middle of your day or the end of your day. It's setting you up to not have things go well. He says, instead, to affirm, I am open to allowing what needs to happen. I trust luck to guide me. We're talking about trust in the process. Trust in the process. And we've also talked about, for me, setting an intention and an intention. And Oprah, my dear friend, is huge on this. She talks about it a lot. And every single day of my life, after I do my 3 things, my gratitude journal, and I also do another small, short spiritual practice. And then in my Jeep, I say out loud, my intention today is, maybe to be free of worry, to be in the present moment, to be grateful, to maybe there's a specific something that I'm focused on wanting to work out, and just trusting that to unfold. And often I just say, my intention today is to trust in the process, capital P. My intention today is to let go of outcomes. My intention today is to detach from outcomes. And actually the other day I just said, please just let my day unfold as it's meant to, in the best way possible. And wow, it's amazing how unexpected surprises and directions and things just wind up so much better than I possibly could have come up with myself. So that's it. Living by letting go, incorporating this into our lifestyle. I'm telling you, it's just the way to sort of embrace optimal human functioning and life satisfaction, which is what mind crafting is all about. Excellent. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from beautiful northern Vermont. Have a mindful day and let go.